In the words of the famous philosopher Derek Zoolander, I'm pretty sure there's a lot more to life than being really, really ridiculously good looking, and I plan on finding out what that is. This Baltany watch is far too good looking for its own good. I mean, really, it's almost annoying how incredibly well put together this is. And putting it on my wrist for the first time, I kid you not, my first thoughts were, why would anyone even bother spending 25 times this amount to have a fancy brand name like Tudor, Oris or the likes when you can have this for the grand total of $158 before any coupons have been applied? This Baltany watch is a straight up homage to the military issued 6BB RAF watches issued to the British Air Force pilots. They had Hamilton, CWC, Newark or Persista on the dial, and all had this peculiar design with a slightly broader right side and a crown that didn't usually screw in flush with the case. The originals were good looking, and if you have one today, it's likely you don't wear it for fear of damaging valuable pieces of history. Of course, with this homage, we don't get an amazing movement, decades of heritage, or made in Japan or Switzerland on the dial. It's also a little sketchy to use the famous broad arrow without specific authorization. So if that bothers you, but you'd like a modern watch with the rights, could I perhaps recommend buying yourself an IWC, Bremont, Hamilton, or whatever other watch you'd like to own and consider buying this for everyday wear? If you do that, you might be surprised again which one you slap on your wrist more days of the week. There is plenty of faux vintage of course here, but this combination of black and creamy gold and deep black dial with something as rare as a genuinely nice sounding Chinese watch brand in Baltany are only some of the many decisions that this brand manages to do right. In fact, the secret sauce with this watch, I believe, is its extreme restraint. It's far more European in its approach, where less is more feeling all over, and that may be why it achieves such a premium feel. I hope you join me today, and I'll do my very best to pick faults and presented warts and all, but it's not going to be easy, so wish me luck. You'd think for this sort of money that decent packaging will be out of the question, but you'd think wrong. A nicely branded and compact case is supplied, and within both a user guide in Chinese and English, a plastic warranty card that's hand completed with the date of purchase, and a microfiber cloth is included. Just to show off a little more, you get a branded bracelet tool with plastic tips both sides. In other words, you get all the good things in a small package, and the first impression is good, even to the point where there's no excessive plastic all over it, so even the environment gets a break. So to the sizes then, perhaps we can pick on those? Sadly not. Thanks to the protruding right hand side, we're looking at a 40.5mm diameter and a lug to lug of 46.5mm. Lug width is the perfect 20mm and the thickness is 12.6mm. The weight on this leather strap is 73 grams, and I have to say it wears like an absolute dream on my 19cm wrist. And I think it would suit way smaller and way larger wrists just as well. The one downside is a 50-meter water resistance, so I would be careful in the rain. So you already know that this dial is ridiculously good looking from a distance, but can it hold up to my extremely unforgiving macro lens? Would you be surprised if the answer to that was yes? At just under the 12 position, we get the printed logo of Baltany. It's crisp even up close, and there's no other text anywhere on the watch. It does of course have the broad arrow just above the 6, and that's also nicely printed, and that is it. In fact, there is no specs printed at all, and no fuss whatsoever either on the front or the back, which is exactly what one envisages a military watch would be like. Much like the inspiration behind the watch, we find the 12 and 6 sit slightly larger than the rest of the digits, and a little lume pip can be found next to each digit. This looks even better in the dark, which we shall soon have a look at, where pretty much everything lights up except the logo, and that handsome minute track. There are 2 sub-dials, and if you're an old hand at these things, the 24-hour dial on the right is a dead giveaway that within beats the Seiko VK64 Mecha Quartz, with its rather pointless indication to show you if it's day or night. But since we have no small seconds complication, there is nothing too obvious here that the watch is battery driven. And the thing is, this watch will always be running even if it's put down for a while, and the chronograph function will still sweep like a mechanical hand. So if you're opposed to the Mecha Quartz, that's possibly the one reason why you might not want to go ahead. Anyway, on the left hand side we get a sweeping minutes counter, and that is it. If you don't run the chronograph, you have no indication that the watch is running other than, having an accurate time showing. It's been mentioned by others that this is a beautiful crystal, and there is something about it. I'm really not sure what, but I suspect that it's thicker than your average one, and the AR coating is good. Somehow though, it's warm almost like Hesselite. It's really good, and I've never had the urge to commend a sapphire crystal previously. The case is all 316L stainless steel and all brushed. It has a distinct Tudor Ranger feel to me, which is high praise, and I think it's the lugs on the side of the case that does it. Initially I wasn't too sold on the not quite flush screw-down crown, but when noticing that this was yet another detail of the originals, I get it now. Neither the crown nor the pushes are signed, which it seems Baltany doesn't do on most of their watches, but certainly looking at, for instance, the CWC RAF original, that is also not signed. Clicking the pushes is the usual slightly spongy feel of the VK64, it is what it is. Flipping the watch over and we get the plain case back that I mentioned earlier. It is a gutsy move for a young Chinese brand to be this minimalistic, and I love it. Designed and thick, almost German style leather 3mm thick strap is again excellent. And I'm sorry for sounding like a broken record here, but it really is very good and very comfortable thanks to being quite flexible right out of the box. I am a sucker for the cross-stitch vintage feel, but this time it's also absolutely warranted. The lume is very good, as I mentioned. It's not incredibly long lasting, but you will be able to tell the time until the early hours of the morning, no problem. It's always a challenge as a watch reviewer to not be too harsh and disrespectful or too exuberant. I think each watch has to be evaluated on its merits, and I do also think its price. What Baltany have achieved here at the asking price is astonishing to me. Sure, it's not a very exciting movement and it's basically a quartz watch, but that's okay I think, since it'll tell the time accurately and not have that annoying battery chronograph hand that has to go full circle before it's reset. This one is instant, like a mechanical piece. I've owned one other such watch that punches above its weight, and that was the St. Martin 62 Mass Homage. And that was so good that I wore it all the time and decided to sell it due to that fact. I had all these other lovely watches, and yet I wore that St. Martin almost every day since it was so good. Will this Baltany repeat that? Possibly, but this one is homaging a range of watches that I'm unlikely to ever buy, so that's actually okay. And also recreating this line and design is okay too, since even going back to the origins, there were more than one manufacturer. It's also scratching my black and gold itch that has been bothering me for some time now. I honestly pride myself on not being for hire. I do this since I enjoy it and not to pay bills. I will share my opinions about my watches, whether I own them, borrow them, or get to keep them post-review. But if you send me a rubbish watch, I won't hesitate to call that out. If you send me a gorgeous watch that happens to be extremely good value and wears like a dream, then I will also call that out, regardless of the movement or origin. And that's what I've done today. Buy one, you will not be disappointed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.